Hey guys, welcome back here to Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel today to check it out. And guys, today I'm going to show you and talk to you about the best way to catch a bass over 4 pounds in the month of June. This is a technique that works pretty much for me in June only. Depending upon your part of the country, it could be mid-May to early July, but for most of us, it's going to be a June technique. Caught tons of 4-pound bass and bigger than this, so we're going to dig into that in today's episode here. Also, guys, two quick things before we get started. We've only got a couple more days left in the sale on my Solar Bat Series glasses right now. Spring fishing sale, I think by the end of May, you can get them at 40% off, including prescription lenses. So if you guys would like to get a pair, you just got a couple more days left to get them. Use the promo code RandyB for free shipping and handling. Got 3 different lens styles, 3 different lens colors, or excuse me, a bunch of different lens colors, 3 different frame colors on them. So Solar Bat link will be in the description. And also, guys, we do have all my Blaukat Throwback jigs back in stock at Tackle Warehouse. I'll put my throwback jig and my Power Finesse jig link in the description of this video, and my Tackle Warehouse link if you guys would like to get some of the jigs we make here. Living rubber, hand-tied, finest quality jig on the market, so appreciate that. Okay, guys, this is something that's been working for me since the early 1990s. I've been doing it every June since the early 1990s, and that is June is the month to be deep cranking with your big deep diving crankbaits that run down to 20 feet or so. It's not hard to do. A lot of people get turned off by when you talk about deep cranking. And the videos I've done on deep cranking in the past, they don't get many views. It's like I don't know if they just don't like to do it or they don't think they can do it, but guys, it's easy. Deep cranking is easy to do, and it produces hogs. I mean, especially in the month of June. Now, here's what happens. We'll talk about some of the baits I like, but here's why it is so good. By the month of June, most of the fish are pretty much done spawning, and based on in most parts of the country. And some of the first structures that they go to after they get done spawning are what we call hard structure. Now, hard structure is something like a drop off or a ledge or the end of a point or a rock pile out on the end of a point, something hard on the bottom they relate to. It's usually some type of a drop off. It's not like the open water live scope Roman fish. These are hard structure fish. And the thing about it is they get on this hard structure pretty much right after the spawn, and after about the end of June or something like that, the thermoclines start forming in the water. There's more options. The fish start to disperse, and they don't use this hard structure like they do in the month of June. But month of June, guys, is the primo time to do this. So you've got a small window for this works. The technique that you want to fish on them is deep cranking. Now, you can catch them on a football head jig or a worm or swim bait, but guys, nothing will catch a big one or lots of big ones like a big deep diving crankbait on these particular areas. The couple different ones I like, guys, and I'll link all these in my Tackle Warehouse link in this video description. This Megabass Deep 6, this bait will get down close to 20 foot deep on 10-pound line. It's got a pretty tight wobble to it. I like the Rapala DT series. DT 16 is real good. Strike King makes some decent baits here. I got one right here. The Strike King XD series, these are good too, but it's got the XD series got a little bit wider wobble, but you have to get you several different kinds. You just want a combination of some type of a perch pattern like this for a little bit more stained water or cloudy days, and then some type of a shad pattern for a little bit cleaner water. So I'd get 2 or 3 different colors, 2 or 3 different models there. Okay, now once you get this, let's talk a little bit about how you want to fish it and where you want to fish it. First of all, you want to set these baits up. You need a long rod on them. You need a rod. I prefer like something, over 7 feet, because a 7 foot or longer rod will allow you to make a long cast with those baits. And it also allows you to take up a lot of line on the hook set. So say, for example, you bomb one of those deep diving crankbaits way out there, and as soon as it hits the bottom, you get a strike. A lot of times you may be, 30 or 40 yards out there when that fish hits, and that long rod will allow you to take up some more line to get those hooks penetrated with it. Most of the time, depending upon how deep I'm fishing and the baits that I'm using 10 to 15 pound test Seagar and Vizex fluorocarbon line. Just depends on how deep I want to get it. And one of the big keys with a deep diving crankbait in the summertime is you want to use a medium fast stop and go retrieve, more on the fast side. You need to create a reaction strike in that little bit warmer water. So try to fish it a little bit faster than what you normally do. Point the rod tip right at your bait and use that medium fast stop and go retrieve. And that stop, and when you're pointing that rod tip right at the bait, you don't have the flex in the rod. So when you do that hesitation of that stop and go retrieve, it makes that bait react a little bit more and sort of dart around a little bit more. So point your rod tip right at your bait, stop and go retrieve, pretty fast retrieve on it. Okay, the next thing, let's talk about the structures you want to fish, and it depends on your lake that you're fishing here. For the most part, in a typical man-made lake, it's all about points. It's easy to do, guys. This is what makes a deep cranking so easy, is based upon how your lake is set up. You're going to have some points, and you're going to have some secondary points in the coves and creeks, and you're going to have some main lake points. They can all be good. The easy part of it, and this is what I do, is I simply run as many points as I can in a day's fishing time. And what I do is I get out there on those points based upon the water clarity, and I fan cast everywhere around the point. So let's say, for example, if the water visibility is like, around 2 feet or something, it's a little bit stained to the water, so the fish probably aren't going to be quite as deep. So I'll get the boat maybe in like 15 foot of water, and I'll try to target sort of that 5 to 10 foot zone. Fan cast that bait, towards the bank, on the sides of the point, everywhere, trying to knock that 5 to 10 foot zone out. If the water's a little bit cleaner, say the water visibility is over 3 feet, I may back out to 20 foot and try to target more that 10 to 15 foot range. So as the water gets deeper, I'm dropping down my line size. I may be using 15-pound test on that deep 6 Megabass if I'm trying to hit down that, that 10 foot or less zone. And I may go to 10-pound tests if I'm trying to get down to 15. A lot of those crankbaits, they also say they're 20-foot crankbaits. Most of them don't go 20 foot. I mean, yeah, if you were trolling the things on a light line, possibly, but that's not really the zone you need to get into. I have found out in the post-spawn that regardless of your water, of your water clarity, most of the bass are going to be less than 15 feet deep. So run points, guys, and it doesn't have to be any particular type of point. It can be a flat point, it can be a 45 angle point, it can be a steeper point, it can be a clay or gravel or rock. They just get out on points and hang out there after they get done spawning to recuperate. Now, the second structure you want to fish on that is if you have a lake that has some type of a ledge or river system where there's actually river channel. Now, this is going to be for you guys primarily that fish like on the the TVA lakes like Chickamauga, Gunnersville, Kentucky Lake. Those are your typical cranking lakes that have the ledges and drop-offs and all that type of stuff. Some of the Coosa River lakes also have some of that type of water, like on the upper ends of it. The problem that I don't like about fishing a deep diving crankbait on a river ledge lake is that people have been doing it for so long that all the key structures are pretty much used up. It used to be nobody could line up like on those intersections of where the ditches and creek channels intersected with the main river channels, which were magnets for big schools of fish. Now with GPS mapping, everybody knows where those areas are at, and they tend to be extremely situational, like whoever gets there first. So I am not a big advocate of deep cranking on a river type lake, but I am in a man-made impoundment that is not typically like associated with ledges and drop-offs and that type of stuff. Those points that you're talking about, that I'm talking about on the man-made areas, there can be a drop-off on them, but most of those points are just a gradual flat slope like that. So they don't get the attention as the ledges and drop-off areas, which makes it a little bit better there. So anyway, guys, give it a try. Deep cranking is easy to do. It's just like I explained it. Get you some of those crankbaits through my tackle warehouse link we talked about. Get you some 10 to 15 pound line and just get out there and run those points, and you'll catch some good fish. And here's what's great about cranking in June. It's like you don't hardly ever catch just one. It's like these fish are schooled up in June. The schools will break up later in the summer, but in June they school up. And I have had situations, guys, where I've caught 20 in a row. A lot of times there'll be big mega schools there. Not so much anymore, but like 15, 20 years ago there were. But nevertheless, they usually always run in some type of wolf pack. And I get, most of the time, I'm going to say at least 80, maybe 90% of the time, if you roll up there with a big deep diving crankbait on a point or a ledge and you catch one bass, you're going to catch more than one. You're going to catch 2 or 3 or 4 bass almost 80, 90% of the time. So anyway, guys, hope it helps you catch some good ones. We'll talk later.